picture it. It's October 1999. I'm wearing footy pajamas because I'm 8 years old and I'm deeply uncool, but it doesn't matter. Because I have successfully communicated to my mother that the movie that I want to watch is on at 8/7 Central sharp. I get a blanket. I get cozy on the floor. And then the Disney Channel original movie intro starts. An orange jack-o'-lantern drifts across the screen. It's time for Halloween Town. And I am fucking psyched. Disney Channel went through many original film iterations, which is possibly why there's so much debate about what counts as the original DCOM film. After a lot of research, I came to the conclusion that the first, DCOM branded movie was Under Wraps in 1997. Though I absolutely respect if you're one of the Disney Channel fans who swears that Northern Lights was the first DCOM. I really have no horse in this race. My conclusion that Under Wraps was the first officially branded DCOM just came from historical and general internet consensus. The shift into the classic DCOM era was led by Gary Marsh, the former president and chief creative officer for Disney Channels worldwide, and Michael Healy, Disney's former senior VP of original movies. The idea was pretty straightforward, according to Michael Healy. Quote, I met with Gary Marsh and he told me he was going to make 12 movies a year. Comedies with heart and some other types of genre films. They were going to be for tweens. Healy recalled thinking, quote, that sounds much more interesting to me than another Disease of the Week movie. And it was. After the release of Under Wraps, a new TV movie genre was born. One designed for kids, around kids. If Marsh was pitched a movie that was about adults and just had kids in it, it was an automatic no from him. Once Disney Channel got the ball rolling on what I guess you could refer to as the DCOM machine, they began the 2000s by successfully executing Gary Marsh's vision of 12 films for the channel per year. These films' budgets ranged from $1 to $4 million, which, for a little bit of context on a budget like that in the year 2000, Hallmark movies are made on a budget of between $1 and $2 million today, 20 some odd years later. So I'm just saying, spending $1 to $4 million on a children's made-for-TV movie in the year 2000 seems fucking nuts. Anyways, Marsh's main interest in making movies that centered around the experience of kids made for a pretty creatively diverse and interesting collection of films being funded and created during the original DCOM boom. Before we go into some of the classic DCOMs made during the 2000 to 2006 era, I'd like to make a quick shout out to the DCOMs made between 1997 and 1999, which in a lot of instances are my absolute favorite. In that just 2.5-year period, we got gems like Halloween Town, obviously, 13th Year, Xenon, Girl of the 21st Century, Smart House, Johnny Tsunami, and possibly the most terrifying made-for-children's television movie ever made, Don't Look Under the Bed. That movie is so deeply disturbing for a small child. I rewatched it pretty recently. I rewatch it every Halloween October season, and it's still pretty disturbing, for an adult. Yeah, they were really on one with that one. But I mean, brava, because it's super entertaining. And again, when I was a kid, made me want to shit my pants. Moving on. The sheer amount of differing and unique themes being explored in DCOM movies at this time led to a truly diverse, creative, entertaining, and often educational experience for the kids who were counting down the days to every new DCOM release. In fact, the second ever film that the channel released in the year 2000, The Color of Friendship, was a fictionalization of true events surrounding a young white girl in 1977 from apartheid South Africa, who signs up to be an exchange student in America, only to unknowingly end up being hosted by a Black family whose patriarch is a congressman actively working against the racial injustices in South Africa. While this film has its flaws and anachronisms, it manages to be a heartfelt story with a really important message at the soul of it. I was only 9 when The Color of Friendship was released on Disney Channel, and I remember even then being moved by the content and wanting to learn more about things like racial injustice, racial inequality, apartheid, and segregation. The film even won an Emmy for Outstanding Children's Programming. Disney Channel played the film often in the year following its release, and then inexplicably in 2001, they just stopped playing it on the channel. In 2006, they dusted it off and started playing it every year at the beginning of February in honor of Black History Month. I'm not sure why such an important film is being shelved 11 out of 12 months of the year, but I have some thoughts on why, and none of them are necessarily positive.
That's racist.
While 12 movies a year was impressive, the true triumph of DCOMs at the time was their ability to touch on such a wide range of unique and often batshit crazy topics. While films like True Confessions and Color of Friendship conveyed important but often heavy messages, a lot of the DCOMs at the time were just heartfelt coming of age stories, but told in really unique, different ways each time. In just that first year of 12 and 12, we got films with chaotic quintuplets, inspiring soapbox racing, moms dating vampires, phantoms in megaplexes, superhero families, A Christmas Wish Gone Wrong, and so many more. In the following 5 years, the channel would release 42 original movies. And while I can absolutely recognize that the diversity on Disney Channel and in Disney Channel original movies specifically could have been better, it was some of the best and most diverse content I was consuming as a child at the time, except for Nickelodeon. Nickelodeon animation, actually specifically, Nickelodeon animation in the late 90s, early 2000s was popping off with representation. But I digress. Something I also appreciated about DCOMs at the time is that a lot of them didn't have a problem challenging gender roles or gender stereotypes. They had movies like Motocrossed, Double Teamed, which I acknowledge is a genuinely terrible name for a made-for-TV children's movie. But anyways, and other films that encouraged girls to do things that otherwise they wouldn't have been encouraged to do necessarily. And I mean, boys, not so much. Now, I'm not saying that a lot of the DCOMs at the time that were being released weren't just sickly sweet bubblegum pop, tween, preteen nonsense. But things like Get a Clue and Twitches were being released alongside other DCOMs like True Confessions or Gotta Kick It Up. I personally had always been partial to the DCOMs that made me cry, weep, think about life, mortality, whatever. I was a weird kid. Just quickly, I will never be able to figure out where Cadet Kelly falls on the spectrum of themes during this time of DCOMs. Is that movie military propaganda? Is it gay? Why are they ribbon twirling? Is it telling you to be less unique or more unique? Why did they cast a 23-year-old dude to play 15-year-old Hilary Duff's love interest? I feel like this could be an entire essay in and of itself. I might have to just do a fucking deep dive on Cadet Kelly. Even future Disney Channel stars like Hilary Duff had only been on the channel for a short time at the beginning of the 2000s, and Disney Channel had yet to start cross-promoting its stars. They weren't showing Hilary Duff music videos alongside Lizzie McGuire episodes yet. That was yet to come. So Disney Channel as an entity was a little hesitant about musical content. Basically, at this time, Disney Channel's only objective was getting viewers. So their only objective was making money from the channel, from viewership, which...
pretty standard.
Well, many people remember Cheetah Girls in 2003 as the first musical content that Disney Channel would put out. It's not actually the case. In 2002, they greenlit an episode of Even Stevens entitled Influenza. That was a musical. I've seen a lot of musical episodes of television, and let's just face it, most of them are like so bad that it's physically painful to watch them. I'm looking at you, Grey's Anatomy. But surprisingly, to this day, Influenza still remains an actually really fun piece of Disney Channel history. And frankly, one of the best musical television episodes I've ever seen. Except Buffy's Once More with Feeling, because I'm not an idiot. Firstly, the concept was simple and brilliant. Ren Stevens, Louis Stevens' older sister, can't attend school because she has the flu. Overachiever Ren falls into a flu-induced slumber, but her stress about missing school manifests into a fever dream with a school day full of musical numbers and forgotten assignments. Again, it's a super uncomplicated premise, but it just proves that if you execute something perfectly, your premise can be as batshit crazy really as you want. I mean, for fuck's sake, it's 24 some odd years later, and at least once a week I catch myself singing that we went to the fucking moon in 1969.
We went to the moon in 1969. That's when they made a landing that was lunar.
So you're thinking, what the fuck? Isn't this video essay about DCOMs? Why are we talking about a musical episode of Even Stevens? Well, I will tell you why. And the reason is that after Influenza, the musical episode of Even Stevens, aired and was super successful, Disney Channel executives realized that kids were motherfucking sat for musical content. So shortly after that, we were blessed with our first musical DCOM, the Cheetah Girls. Between the overtop fashion, the ridiculously catchy songs, and Raven's very presence, the movie was a campy, cheesy Y2K masterpiece. After the musical episode of Even Stevens and the success of Cheetah Girls, a lot of musical content didn't actually follow. There was one musical episode of That's So Raven in 2004, which the musical episode of Raven is directed by the fucking Debbie Allen. I'm like a mid-aged millennial with a mom who absolutely adores pop culture. So like I've seen a lot of old shows. In high school, I was obsessed with Fame, the show and the original movie.
And right here is where you start paying in sweat.
And if you don't know who Debbie Allen is, like, holy fucking shit, it's so cool that she was out here in 2004 directing a musical episode of That's So Raven. So cool. Anyways, then in 2006, Disney Channel decided to make a little musical called High School Musical. Super creative name there, by the way. I never think about how absolutely ridiculous that name is until I say it out loud, and I'm like, High School Musical, like, you guys couldn't have, well, it clearly doesn't matter. The network decided to push the budget to the very, very top, even a little over the top, and it reportedly had a budget of $4.2 million. Which, again, for a made-for-TV children's movie, just seems kind of insane, honestly. It was hard to get concrete details about a lot of Disney Channel original movie budgets. Between 2000 and 2006, really the information you get is between $1 and $4 million. I'm pretty sure Halloween Town was made for $4 million. I don't know for sure. Disney is annoyingly tight-lipped about budgets and financials. I don't think they want anyone to know just how much money they're spending on making cool shit, but also stupid shit. So nothing that I say budget-wise is concrete. I wouldn't feel comfortable being like, I know for sure that this DCOM was made for this much. I don't. Like I said, I have a pretty clear idea of what they made the first High School Musical movie for, and it was over $4 million. So there's that. For this fucking musical, they bring in the legendary Kenny Ortega. Like, this guy's, it's 2006. Kenny Ortega's already a legend. He's directed Hocus Pocus. He's done Newsies. Dude is epic.
Dost thou comprehend?
The premiere of High School Musical on January 20th, 2006 becomes the most watched DCOM premiere on the network of all time. At that time, 7.7 million people tune in to see High School Musical. Now, this is truly shocking to me. I don't know why. Like, it shouldn't be, because I was very much coherent and aware of what people were listening in 2006. But the High School Musical soundtrack gets released about a week before the release of the movie. And it becomes the best-selling album of 2006. So I'm just going to run that by you again. A soundtrack for a made-for-TV movie that is for children had the best-selling album of 2006. Is that not nuts? That's crazy. That's crazy. It also made the list of the 100 best-selling albums of the 2000s, and as of 2023, the soundtrack's gone platinum 5 times. 5 times. I love it. And then the DVD of the film was released on May 23rd, 2006. They clearly didn't waste any time getting that DVD out there. And they sold 1.2 million copies in its first 6 days, making it the most purchased made-for-TV movie DVD of all time. And it was even the first feature-length film that you could buy on iTunes. So High School Musical was teaching Disney Channel execs something very important very quickly. And that was that there was a lot more money to be made off of these little TV movies, especially these TV movie musicals. Because now it wasn't just about viewership. It was about merch, product, things that you could push out that people could buy and spend their money on when they weren't watching the channel. Suddenly it was clear to Big Disney that Disney Channel could be a big money-making machine. And I don't know if you guys know this, but there is nothing that Disney loves more than money.
Money.
According to what I've read, they always plan to make High School Musical a trilogy. I'm not really sure why that is when they seem to not have very much faith in musical content at that time. Maybe somebody at the channel had a crystal ball. I'm not sure. Apparently, even pre-success of the first High School Musical, they had always planned on making it a trilogy. Following High School Musical's release and success, there was a notable shift at Disney Channel about the fundamental beliefs about what and why they were creating what they were creating. Michael Healy recalled that before High School Musical, the channel was treated more like a side business, not even located in the same lot as the rest of Disney. For better or for worse, High School Musical had landed DCOMs on Big Disney's radar, and it was going to change the trajectory of DCOMs and Disney Channel forever. Before the release of the first High School Musical, DCOMs were rarely sequels based on previous IPs or parts of franchises. In fact, in 2006, only 3 Disney Channel film franchises existed: Halloween Town, Xenon, and the Cheetah Girls. And the channel had only made DCOMs based off of 3 shows: Even Stevens, Kim Possible, and The Proud Family. After the release of High School Musical, however, starting in 2007, 48% of DCOM content was now a franchise film or sequel. High School Musical had shown Big Disney that it could pay off to put more time and money into their DCOMs. But that was contradictory to the entire playbook of how they were creating these DCOMs. You couldn't make something like High School Musical every single month. It's just not possible. But after High School Musical's success, Disney didn't want anything smaller than that. 12 DCOMs in 12 months was dead, and we were moving into the tentpole era at Disney Channel. A tentpole film or show is just a production that specifically supports the financial performance of a film studio or TV network or even a specific performer. These productions are also often expected to support the sale of tie-in merchandise. So think like Marvel, even like Hunger Games. I like the Hunger Games, but that's a big one. Like anything that is a huge franchise that is potentially making a single person or a couple of people big stars, is like a guaranteed moneymaker. Because, like, let's face it, that's why they keep making Marvel movies, right? Because they make money and you can sell, like, version 2.0578 of fucking Captain America's shield, and then, like, 3 versions of Thor's hammer, and also a hat that says Dad Hulk. And, like, it's just, I'm not saying tentpole films and productions are always bad. I am saying they lend a hand to a massive part of media consumerism and media capitalism. It's no longer about just going to the theater and buying a ticket and seeing a movie. Tentpoles kind of create an environment where it's a franchise, you're waiting for the next one, you're excited, you buy t-shirts, you buy trinkets, you buy shit. Obviously, I'm not shitting on buying branded merchandise. But tentpoles quickly become less about the creativity and more about how can we push as many out as we can and tie in as much merch and make the right person as famous as possible. The main fear with making big budget made for television movies, I expect, is that you're not going to see a return on your money. That's the fear with any type of filmmaking or television making, is that you're not going to break even, or you're not going to see a return on investment, or you're not going to profit. Disney wanted to continue pushing out larger, higher budget tentpole style films, but they didn't want to take the risk that they'd fail. They wanted a little bit of a guarantee on their investment. Suddenly, they didn't want to risk making something unique or creative or a little fucking weird because it could isolate their audience, make their audience smaller, and therefore lose the money.
Don't waste your time trying to make anything cool or pure or awesome, because the man's just gonna call you a fat, washed-up loser and crush your soul. So do yourselves a favor and just give up!
It was okay to make weird shit like Pixel Perfect and Get a Clue and Poof Point when they were spending $1 million on making a film. But losing $1 million and losing $15 million is a lot different. Big Disney seemed exceedingly aware that they could do these big films and make these big franchises and push all this merch, but they needed to do it in a very strategic way and make it palpable for large audiences. According to Michael Healy, the tentpole strategy ruined creativity. He went on to say, Gary, rightly or wrongly, became more timid about messing with the franchises that he had and was less likely to say, go ahead and make a new project that wasn't pre-sold. Sherry Singer, an executive producer at the channels at that time, said years later, ultimately they decided they didn't want to do the Read It and Weeps or the Luck of the Irishes anymore. So what followed? Franchises and sequels, and frankly, like far too many of them. Or if you were lucky enough to catch an actually original DCOM, it always starred somebody from somewhere else on the channel that was already famous in a seeming attempt to guarantee viewership. More High School Musical movies happened, more Cheetah Girls movies happened, and then a whole slew of musical franchises were born. We've got Camp Rock, Teen Beach Movie, Descendants, and Zombies, which between those 4, there are 11 DCOMs. So 11 DCOMs over 4 musical franchises. That's a fuckload, I feel like. The network also started releasing a number of DCOMs based on Disney Channel IP. Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, Phineas and Ferb, Wizards of Waverly Place, Good Luck Charlie. The list literally goes on and on. There's a lot. The DCOMs that did remain truly original after 2007 had serious quality problems. I'm not saying that there aren't a few outstanding films from this period of DCOMs, but while just about every DCOM from 1997 to 2006 is a winner in some way or another, only a couple of the DCOM originals from 2006 to 2025 are memorable in quality, in my opinion. If you like something, keep liking it. I'm not here to tell you what to like. Jump In slaps. Kiki Palmer, Corbin Bleu, but then you've got Princess Protection Program, which frankly can't even be saved by the presence of Demi Lovato and Selena Gomez.
What are you doing? Eating a hamburger. Have you ever tried one?
Like, it's just not entertaining to watch. Camp Rock obviously manages to be batshit crazy enough that it basically immediately lands itself on the cult, cheesy, campy DCOM, like, legends list. And I'm okay with that. I personally am obsessed with the 3 original Descendants movies because they are the weirdest, shittiest, best and worst choreographed, chaotic TV musicals possibly ever. There are Broadway stars present, movie stars present, dubstep, rapping, homoerotic undertones, and spelling. I will say, I'm not even going to sit here and pretend like I've sat through the zombie movies or the Teen Beach movies. But if I'm honestly missing out on something, like, let me know, because I'm not too proud to get obsessed with a tween musical TV franchise. Since 2017, almost every DCOM made has either been a sequel, a movie installment in a franchise, based on a previous IP, or a remake of something. And frankly, it's getting pretty disappointing. We used to get DCOMs about boys turning into mermaids, a young witch discovering another world, vampires dating, twins playing basketball, underdog dance teams, and teens turning into leprechauns. Now we get a 700th remake of Freaky Friday and a really unsettling live-action Kim Possible movie? And mountains of poorly manufactured merch from every franchise and show that you can get at the I used to be scared to go in there, but now they sell My Little Pony blind boxes Hot Topic. When I went into writing this essay, I really thought that the quality was going to be about nostalgia for me. But as a 90s kid and a longtime fan of DCOMs, it is honestly hard to overlook the dip in quality, creativity, diversity, and honestly any kind of uniqueness in the DCOMs that followed High School Musical. Which leads me to the question: did High School Musical lead to the downfall of DCOMs? Well, yeah. The first High School Musical came out when I was in high school, and even though I was in the midst of my, like, I'm too cool for that shit phase, I had a little sister, so I ended up watching the premiere because she made me.
Liar! Liar!
Not even pretentious teenage sailor could deny just how delightful High School Musical was. I mean, I was a theater kid at the time. Obviously, that came into play a little bit. The songs were catchy. The choreography was great. The script was perfectly cheesy. And Kenny Ortega. Like, Kenny Ortega. Kenny Ortega.
Dost thou comprehend?
A lot of critics at the time said that it was too sweet, but I don't actually know what that means when you're talking about a made-for-TV Disney Channel musical. Like, what is that? Too sweet? Like, my cinnamon roll is too sweet. I don't understand what that means. The second High School Musical is arguably even more delightful than the first, and likely because the second High School Musical movie was the most viewed network premiere that they ever had, 17.2 million, which was 10 million more than the first High School Musical movie. The final High School Musical movie, High School Musical 3, senior year, I don't even yeah, that's gotta be right. It went to theaters. It had a theatrical release. The High School Musical franchise is fun, it's memorable, it gave us stars like Vanessa Hudgens and Zac Efron. I've played and replayed the soundtrack hundreds of times. I've memorized quotes, I've laughed at memes, I've made fun of Troy performing Bet on It. But unfortunately, this DCOM deep dive made one thing incredibly clear. High School Musical was the beginning of the end of DCOM quality and diversity. And it would ultimately lead to the slow and very prolonged death of the genre. I would like to note, the genre is not yet quite dead, but it is taking its last death rattle like the fucking Crypt Keeper. So High School Musical killed DCOMs. But it was worth it. Right? Mostly? Yeah? And note, if y'all are gonna keep making shitty sequels to stuff on Disney Channel, where's my Halloween Town 5? Literally, Marnie and Cal are fucking married in real life. Give them a call. They go to conventions all the time. Get on the phone. Hello, Kimberly J. Brown and your husband, I don't know his name. Get over here to the Disney Channel lot and let's make a fucking Halloween Town 5. Let's right the Halloween Town 4 wrong. Let's do this. Who do I need to talk to make that happen? Let's go. In closing, I miss the old Disney Channel creativity and weirdness. Why are people from my generation who have seen Smart House fucking around with AI? And why can't any OG Disney Channel star draw a normal-looking Mickey Mouse head in the air with a wand? Anyways, now you know, because it's Mike's super short show. It's not, just kidding. See y'all next time. If you liked today's video, please click the subscribe button and watch out for other content from me coming soon.